welcome to the AEW Redemption Review. I'm Adam Wilbourn from WhatCulture. My old Dollywood, Michael Sidgwick from WhatCulture, here to review everything that happened at AEW Redemption. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review AEW Dynamite, but also Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. Pay-per-views, premium live events, where interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup of the week, complete with a bloody good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Michael Sidgwick to review AEW Redemption live on YouTube. Thank you to everyone joining us and sending us questions and what have you. But Sidge, what did you make of that show?
I knew it. Everyone knew it. Everyone knew it was one pay-per-view too many. Everyone knew it looked like a glorified 5-hour Dynamite. It happened to be the case. The shortest match was 16 minutes.
Yeah.
There were certain matches that got nothing. There was one match in particular that was as quiet as a WWE TV match half of the time. It was one pay-per-view that missed from the 2026 schedule. I think this is important to bear in mind, right? I don't want to craft a narrative of, I was right all along, less is more. These shows are too long. It was going to catch up with them eventually. If you look at the lineup and you compare it to the other shows that they've done, I don't want to sit here and say, I was right all along. There's obviously a problem with the format and the philosophy, and it's too much, and da-da-da-da-da. Because I've been proven wrong this year. I'm happy to hold my hands up and say that. And the one time where it was kind of expected to be a bit of a slog, it was, in fact, a slog. I don't want to sit here and say, well, I was right all along, and it's a catastrophe, and the tone has been set now, and this really hot period of 2026 is coming to a foreseeable crushing end because of the things I've been saying. I'm happy to admit this may just be an anomaly, pretty iffy lineup. I'm not saying the sky is falling. I'm not saying that. However, this show was this was a slog. I don't know if it was a case of the problems that AEW throughout 2026 has pressed up hard against everything that you thought you knew about how to pace a pay-per-view, how many pay-per-views to do, how long the matches should go. And as I said, I've held the position of, well, bit too long for me still, but if you listen to the audiences, the crowds, the buys, maybe I'm just getting a bit too old, and the wider AEW fan base is fine with it. They've pushed up against it for so long. In a risky way, you could say this was the night where it's like, come on. I knew what was going to happen. I've got two broader points because otherwise we're going to go way too long. Two broader points, and I think one in particular is pertinent. I do. That's the second point. The first point I want to make is that the show was just broadly far too long. It was. And there were so many periods where from each match, and I've said this before a million times, take 3-5 minutes off. Not only are the matches better and leaner and hopefully louder as a result, but there were just so many periods of just dead air, of like, oh God, get to the final act, get to the finish, let's bring this home, let's postpone this one to Dynamite. Like a cumulative hour of nothing and quiet. And it was like added up over almost every single match here, almost every single one. The second broader point I want to make is that in doing this type of pay-per-view, actually I've got three broader points. This is the second. In doing this kind of pay-per-view where the shortest match is 16 minutes and there are 10 matches and the third match is worked in terms of the rhythm and the length and the excess and the dramatic beats like a main event, Fletcher Bandito, you're going to kill the crowd.
Match of the night for you?
I don't know yet. I don't know. I'll probably make up my mind as I go along, I expect. In doing that, there's a match later on. It's Andrade versus Mark Davis. Where you're like, oh, I forgot this was happening.
Yeah, I had the exact experience of that.
I think everyone in the building did. Luckily for Andrade, it wasn't a disaster because it was good. They're all pretty good.
Luckily for AEW, it was Andrade.
Yeah, he got them.
Yeah.
He did get them, but it was eerily quiet for a long time. Thankfully, they got them by the end, and it was fine. But what you are doing by putting so much on the show is that this guy, and yeah, he's just won the title, and it's only the national, but, you know, he's going to have a showdown with MJF at some point. They've invested loads of time with him on television this year. To create a card that is so excessive and so long and such an overcorrection on a weak lineup by trying to just, oh, well, there's loads of it. It's like, that's not really how it should work. You're making your pushed babyface prospect, and at the end of the day, there's about 15 of them, so who cares? You're making them look not over because the crowd's exhausted. That's not good booking. That's not good formatting. That's not good pacing. Because when he comes out, and yeah, he gets them, but for long stretches of that match, it's like, what time are we on? You don't want this guy who you've invested as a big babyface prospect to feel like an imposition of your time, where you're like, oh, God, not him. Not the guy I like. That doesn't make any sense to me.
I like both wrestlers in that match. We'll talk in more detail about it later. Wanted Andrade to win, obviously. Nothing against Mark Davis. You got a great ass. But when he hit the spinning back elbow at the start, I went, yes, just finish it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying don't do the match. Run it back on Dynamite. Give it the 16 minutes on Dynamite. Davis has earned that. He's been brilliant, I think. But I was just like, oh, just please.
Yeah.
Get on with it.
The third broad point I want to make before we go match by match is I'm starting to resent what I perceive to be, I think it's a lie as well, but this really patronizing attitude from billionaire Tony Khan about, you know, these fans. They deserve value for money. That's why these shows go 5 hours long. It's because I'm asking them to pay a lot of money, and they deserve their money's worth. If you want to save me money, don't add yet more pay-per-views to the schedule. If you were that bothered...
Good point, yeah.
If you were that bothered about my money or the money of the AEW paying public and the people who buy these pay-per-views, if you cared that much, you wouldn't run as many pay-per-views because you know the model was better storytelling-wise before you added too many of them. And yes, they've had a good storytelling year. I'm not denying that. But this felt like one pay-per-view too many. It was. You could tell by the matches, the atmosphere in the main. I think everyone kind of collectively agreed, even the people who were really high on this, did it need to exist? No. You're getting greedy because the pay-per-views are big business for you. You're getting greedy. This is one too many. It did need to exist. You've created the discourse all over again about the show length, about like, it was just felt like one too many and it didn't need to happen. If you cared that much about people's money, you wouldn't have got greedy and did this pay-per-view in the first place. It didn't need to exist. As far as I'm aware, no one's asking you for it. And even if the pay-per-view carriers are saying, oh, these are big business, do them. Just say, you know what, I don't want to. It's not very good for my storylines. The all-in buzz compared to last year is minimal. And I'm not laying the blame on this long-ass pay-per-view that didn't need to exist because there are probably at this point fundamental problems with the main event build and the characters and the way you're presenting them. But don't go on at me about, oh, I'm just giving you value for money as if I've got nothing better to do for 5 hours on a Sunday when I'm the exact fan you're targeting, by the way, the jaded millennial who got bored of WWE. I'm your target audience, and I and others are telling you these shows are too long.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're so bothered, I've got better things to do for 5 hours. I'd like a nice 3.5 hour or 4 hours, but with fewer pay-per-views, right?
You went an hour earlier to go an hour longer.
It's just what they're doing. It's just what he does now.
Andy
This value for money.
Andy put it on to watch this morning, and it was still going.
Huh?
He woke up at like
Same out to watch from the start. I just want to give you this altruistic Tony Khan wants to give me value for money. Like, what a load of shit. You want to make more money. That's why you're doing this unnecessary pay-per-view. If you want to save me money, these precious poor people who buy the Billionaire Show, do less of them. Do fewer of them.
I'm going to be a bit scattergun all over the place with this.
I mean, these matches had everything, Wilbourn.
I've got a lot of thoughts on this. And one of them, actually, I was going to bring up has partially been answered by the wonderful Matt Rains in the chat, who kind of summed up a lot of our emotions about that, which I'll get to a little. Please do keep posting in the chat, and I will get around to them. I'll try and time them if they're related to a match, but I'm not very good at my job. So what I wanted to know was Travis's thoughts in particular. AEW1 on social media, of course. We've been sort of back and forth with Travis for quite a few weeks now because
they themed the pay-per-view around Kenny Omega winning the title.
Exactly.
He kept
Travis
saying,
bought the tickets. I know they never advertised it.
I'm going to get my redemption.
Indeed. And I was thinking, I wonder what... I watched this show and I thought, I know Travis is clearly a fan of AEW. I wonder what he makes of this show. Because... maybe it's me. Like I say, maybe I'm up early in the UK. It's different. I'm not in attendance. I'm not there. I think it's
as with if you were, you'd be quiet at various points, like they all were.
Yes, but I was like, I wonder what his experience of this is, and we've got a partial answer. I'd like to know more. By the way, Travis, if you DM or email us or whatever, I will read it out on the Dynamite preview later on this week. Matt says, I texted Travis midway through asking his thoughts. His response: it's one of the shows I've ever been to. Yeah, like, I was coming in this morning, Sidge, because we had a bit of fun on the messages, me, you, and Hamlet back and forth. Mainly Hamlet boasting that he's off to go and watch Chicken Run today instead of talking about this show. But, because I was like, I don't know how to pitch this. Not to you, to the listeners, viewers. Because it's like, to a certain extent, I could come in and say, Sidge, is that one of the worst AEW pay-per-views ever? Which would seem, obviously, far too reactionary and probably not the case. But you talked, I'm not sure if it was on a pod or we were just chatting in the office, about how the majority of people, some I'm sure enjoyed it. And again, I'm getting on top of myself here. Because people are going to think, what? Oh, I see. Wasn't there any good matches on it? No, there was loads. There was loads of great matches. There was loads of great wrestling.
Loads of good matches.
Yes. As I said to Hamlet, it insisted upon itself. That was my problem with this show. No, it's not that it was just like terrible matches. Not whatsoever. There was bad matches. And believe me and Sidge will be united in our critique of one of them a little bit later on. But yeah, the majority of these matches, if they'd have been on a WWE pay-per-view, would have been the best on the card by a clear mile, right? I'm not, that's not even an argument from me. But it was, like, we didn't have chance, down to me, breaking my wrist, basically. On Thursday, normally we do the Dynamite review, and then you guys would do a Del Melina, or we'd do a pay-per-view preview. We didn't have a chance to do it, because I had to go to physio, because I had my broken wrist. I apologize.
I was doing childcare last week.
Yes. But I also thought, it's not essential. An all-in preview is essential. An all-out preview is going to be essential. It's a really predictable card, this. Mm-hmm. Yes, there was a surprise or two in there, but not something that you're like...
This is the most missable AEW pay-per-view of the year. Didn't need to exist, this.
So I was like, is that how I can't pitch it like that, but you yourself said it was like on a par with like All Out 2020.
Not bad, not as bad as that.
But in terms of, in the conversation...
No. In the conversation, it tends to be Double or Nothing 2023, which I went to. World's End 2023, that's considered one of the worst.
Is that MJF Joe main event? Is that one?
Yeah. It's the Jericho overshadowed one as well. Andrade, Miro, like just some not good stuff.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that one.
So World's End 2023, All Out 2020, but that was just a cursed night in the worst possible conditions. So that's the worst, but does it count?
Not for you. It's a good night, wasn't it?
Well, I had returned from holiday.
Let's have a laugh with this before we really get into it.
So All Out 2020, I don't think I was in it for work. For whatever reason, I came into it late, and I'd missed the Matt Hardy stuff.
I think at the time you said you'd missed your alarm or something. You slept through your alarm.
I can't remember what the hell happened, but I watched it from when it got good. But the people who were watching it, having watched what came before, couldn't really get into the spirit of escapist pay-per-view action when Matt Hardy turned purple and people thought he might have died.
I think you even posted on X, like, the Matt Hardy stuff, and we were all like, oh, bloody hell. And then whatever, a good match comes next. And I see on my feeds, what a great show so far, right, guys? And I was like, Sid, you're having all right, mate? Feel like you're not really getting the mood of the room here, pal.
So what else is there? World's End 2023.
I saw a tweet that was
just
like,
2023 brackets general.
It was a tweet that was like, the 4 images, and it was this one and those 3 you mentioned there. Yeah. I will lay the blame to the reverse of what you said. I will lay the blame at this show. Lay the blame for this show at All In. Because we went into this, like, there was Kevin Knight hit something on Kenny Omega on the belt, and I didn't even go, ooh. I went, and 1 and 2, and there we go. Like, that main event. I know why and we'll get to what happened post main event, which is why they did it in the main event. But when they counted 3 on that, I went, why haven't Tekla and Willow main evented this show?
Yeah.
Considering, but that's a whole nother conversation to be had, which we will get into. If stuff comes to you, as we always do, just jump in, because we're going to be all over the place on here, and I'll try and. I've just seen Mimi's. The first comment that we got is from Mimi, and yeah, don't worry, we'll mention that as well as regards backstage interviews.
No,
can't remember exactly where it happened, but I'll try and bring it all together. Let's start at the beginning of the show, Sidge, with the ladder match. No messing about. They're all out there already. We're into Redemption. It was Jungle Jack Perry, El Colon, Nick Wayne, Commander, Speedball Mike Bailey. Oh, this is bad. If I'm doing my notes on the first match and I've already forgotten one of the competitors.
That's unprofessional. It's the Beast, Mortos.
Loved seeing him back. Oh, there's that bit. A bit all over the place with my note taking here. We've had a lot to do today. There was a bit where early on, did he chuck Bailey onto the pile of like people outside or something, or he chucked him into? I was like, there he is. There's our boy.
There's the boy. That Tony always looks unbelievable as well.
Yeah. And I'm not going to, by the way, go down the same route. I saw some people going on this ladder match. Really fun ladder match, as of course it is. I really don't see the point in sitting there and folding your arms and going, that's a bit stupid, this, wasn't it? Why aren't people going for the title? I get why people say that.
Toothpaste is out the tube.
Yeah. This isn't like you can sit there, especially as a Fed fan, and be like, you were just doing it for spots there. You weren't even trying. Yes, obviously, there's bits in this match where you're like, why aren't you? It's because they're doing some spectacular. I'm never going to be that petty to go after it. I can see the argument. I can see the argument, but I don't think that is not why this pay-per-view was not well received.
I know.
There was a bit where, like, early on, I was like, this is a bit preposterous. Why have they all left the ring with the contract hanging above it to go and fight on a different ladder at the top of the stage? And it was just so Mike Bailey could hit a big moonsault onto the pile, and Jack Perry could be like, I'll do that as well, actually.
On one level, right, shall I just talk about the match?
I can run through to the finish on this one.
If you want,
made some notes.
Go on then.
There was the bit, I will say, no question from me, that something that AEW does better than anyone, and it's, how about we put 4 people through tables simultaneously?
WWE got there first with this. It was excellent.
Yeah. Yet again, there was one with the Bucks, and I can't remember who they were partners with in their match. So I remember one, like, vividly. That was just like, oh my word. Because it's all well and good going 1, 2, 3, 4, table. It's another to be like, right, there's your first table spot.
Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I'm sure WWE did this first. Maybe it's SummerSlam last year. I'm sure,
Possibly.
And now it's become the new spot in every ladder match.
But it was like, there's your first table spot. The next one has to be better than that.
Yeah.
And better. So
it's a great. I can see why everyone's thieving it now.
Yeah, Jack Perry hits a Hurricane Runner off the apron on Mortos through a table. Klon hit a double stomp off the top onto Bailey through another. And then the last one was because I was really nervous he was going to slip because of all that had gone on, and it's a ladder match, and it's just crazy. Commander rope walked into a dive onto Nick Wayne through a table. Understandably, the crowd went mental.
Absolutely phenomenal.
This might be the bit I'm thinking about. Later on, the Beast Mortos has recovered and chucks Perry with a buckle bomb onto a ladder and then charges at Klon, who hits a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker on him. Klon then sets up a ladder bridge and hits Commander with a Made in Japan off of it. Amazing. Subsequent to that, Perry and Wayne fight out on the ladder in the ring, and Perry hit a destroyer off the ladder through the ladder bridge that collapsed, and I thought, well, someone might have died here. That left us with Mike Bailey and the Beast Mortos. Bailey hit a series of wheel kicks, put the Beast on a ladder in the corner, hit a shooting star double knee, amazing, climbed up, and hometown hero, quite rightly, is the new #1 contender for the international title.
I'm done again with these. I am done again with the multi-man ladder match. I was looking at the lineup, and I saw that it was announced and all the rest of it, and the qualifiers, and I was like, God, I remember you could put any 6 wrestlers on any roster in this match, and you'd think, yes, a great match on a pay-per-view. Because years ago, great matches on pay-per-view were actually quite scarce, and it was always a cheat code, and you think, well, my mind's going to be blown, if nothing else. I understand your point, right? The toothpaste is out of the tube in terms of how contrived these matches are, and they simply are literal platforms for exciting spots. And because it's what the fans want, apparently, I don't know how true that is, to be honest, anymore. But the average wrestler, goes into this match thinking, right, well, what's the point in climbing? What's the point in trying to win? I am here. My job is to make the fans pop at the end of the day. We are not working a main event. We are not part of a storyline. There is no emotional investment. Let's just do the party. Do the party match. That's what this is now. And put our bodies on the line, and people will respect us for doing that and go crazy. Job done. That's our spot on the card. I get it. At the same time, how much does this really work anymore? I don't know. I would just like to think what I associate with AEW at its very best is a level of thought and detail and attention that I've not seen from almost any company ever. And I love that about AEW. Why not try and approach it in a different way?
Yeah.
I don't know. Especially when it's 6, it's obviously going to be hard.
I will say the bit where Jack Perry hits the destroyer. I think
His head, he has to move.
Andrew Dice Clay, I think, pointed this out on X. Yeah, that did make me think, that's kind of fair enough. That no one would even raise a hand and be like, if I'm that close, why don't I at least try and grab it before I get pulled into something? Or
and then it's like, right, well, actually, I'm going to have to do the destroyer and then try again.
Probably have to now.
Yeah, might bloody have to now. There's loads of little moments like that where...
Yeah, that's fair.
Just try to obscure what you're really doing. I'm numb. Even the destroyer spot, it's like, saw Matt Jackson do one to Phoenix, or the other way around, All Out 2019, lost my mind. 7 years later, you see the same spot, and you've seen it. I'm just like, wow, whatever. It's wild how much I don't care about these. It's like, it's the match that should bypass your cynicism. Like, your arms get unfolded, then you clasp the arms of your chair and sit forward. That's what they should do. It doesn't matter how many times you've seen it, it's still impossible to lose your mind. It's possible now for me. It really is. Some of the spots were inarguably spectacular. We shouldn't gloss over the difficulty and risk involved in something like the Commander bit in particular. It's just contrived and passé.
Yeah, happy for Mike Bailey, who has subsequently announced he's going on the Grand Slam Mexico Dynamite.
Their chemistry with that atmosphere is going to be match of the year tier. But like, seriously, it is. It's going to be unbelievable. That.
Yeah, it's going to be bonkers that show and that card basically. Grand Slam Mexico is always.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that close either when he said that, because I was like, doing this at All In because you're announcing it now. Why would you rush it? My word. What followed was the Death Riders, represented for now at least by Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay, with Marina Shafir, taking on the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. The story of this match was... Why won't you kill Nick Jackson, Will Ospreay, basically?
Yeah,
from Jon Moxley.
Nick Jackson and Will Ospreay did a genuinely phenomenal clunking of the head spot.
Yeah.
It looked so great and believable. And then afterwards, Nick Jackson was like, oh, God, my bell's been rung here. And then Moxley was like, oh, excellent.
Sweet, yeah.
Sweet, easy night for us. And Ospreay was like, oh, I don't know. Do I want to win like that? And Ospreay was like, well, to win at all costs. Literally been telling you for months, take any emotion you have out of it and become a ruthless weapon. Like the ultimate weapon, a winning machine, whatever. Words don't bother you. Emotion shouldn't bother you. It's all about winning and whatever. Da, 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 da. And then Ospreay was like, he kept like refraining. And then Mox was like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Pile driver on the outside.
There was a bit. Was it Mad Kurt back in the day when Ospreay first did one of that like elbows to the back of the neck spot from like I saw a clip of it on like
wrestler
an indie show.
goes off script using savage violence or whatever it was.
I think it was R.I.P.
It was, yeah, R.I.P.
But I remember that, and that's basically what Mox was doing. Like he had flashes in his head of like, "Oh, do that to Nick," because there was a bit where I think Matt went to tag him back in, and even I was going, probably not the best idea to do that now.
Yeah.
Like there was a bit in the tag match with Cope and Cage, and I was thinking, is this the fresher of the pair we're tagging in here? Here it was like, well, don't bring your brother back in, and yeah, Moxley was just like you say, killing Nick. As even when Matt tried for a hot tag, killing him with a pile driver on the floor, and sort of going, "Go on, kill him," and consistently, there was a bit where he fired up, and the crowd was suddenly like, "Here we go," and
he was woozy afterwards.
Yeah, he's all over the place. There was also a bit with some mad 450s all over the place. The usual, you're pulling a face.
Yeah, I'll tell you after.
Hidden blade from Ospreay after all. Yeah, it was, hang on. Nick kicked out of a sleep. No, Matt kicked out. Matt got out of a sleeper as Nick kicked free of Ospreay. 450. Ospreay hit a 450 on Nick. Matt hit a destroyer. Moxley hit a BTE trigger. And Ospreay hit Matt with a hidden blade for everybody to be down, basically. And Moxley's just like, we're fired up with Shafir after all this. He's shouting to Ospreay to pull the trigger. And yeah, this was the bit I was trying to get to. Ospreay shoves the referee out the way. He's taking the strapping off. He's about to hit those forearms to Nick Jackson. But Matt slides in to protect his brother. Moxley, I've had enough of this. He tags himself in, chucks Matt outside. Hit a curb stomp on Nick, who kicks out. Bulldog choke. He releases that, starts hitting forearms. Matt made the save, but gets taken outside by Ospreay. Shafir eats a super kick flush in all this. Moxley hit 2 paradigm shifts and a Death Rider. Grabbed a chair from ringside. Shoved the referee down with it. Goes to literally take Nick Jackson out. Ospreay takes the chair off him. There's a super kick in there from Matt Jackson. The Bucks hit a BTE trigger on Mox, flips them both off, and they just literally launch a super kick party into his face until they can get the 1, 2, 3.
I was mildly let down by this.
You have a very high ceiling.
I have an incredibly high ceiling and like expectation for a Young Bucks match. It was weird. That 450, it got clipped on Twitter, and a lot of people have been mocking the lack of selling or whatever. So maybe I'm just too laser focused on that. But by their standards, it was glaring. Like, just gets hit with the 450 or hits a 450 or whatever. And then he's just like, considering he's meant to be selling a near concussion, a problem in itself, which I'll get to, kind of just pops up and gets to the next sequence. Like, they are usually so good at having their cake and eating it too, by putting in so much action, like dense, action-heavy pieces into the matches, and then like doing a delayed sell afterwards, or like selling it as pure adrenaline. This just felt a little bit sloppy for me in terms of the order in which they did it. And like, here's the thing. I understand the purpose of Rick Knox in a Young Bucks.
Yes.
Canonically, Rick Knox is an idiot, prone to distraction, just a bit, he's not the sharpest guy. And they play with that device. They even mock him sometimes at commentary. Like, how did even Rick Knox mix that or miss that? And Rick Knox has lost track of who the legal man is or how many people are in the ring, and he doesn't really care, does he? He's very lackadaisy, lackadaisical Rick Knox. I thought it took the piss. I understand why they told the story and how it fed into it later in the night, but it felt like they said, there's a plot hole here. Shall we do it anyway? Yeah, it's the easiest way. And I know they've built it on TV and it all comes together, but in order for it to come together, you have to ignore that you've got someone with a dangerous head injury that if it were real, right, the match is called off or he's sent to the back. And if he'd sustained a head injury, right, we know they're too serious now. If he sustains a real head injury to the point where like he's legitimately unable to continue at times, like the match is turned into a handicap match or it gets called off or whatever. We know this now. So I thought, like, even with because that's the Young Bucks are clever. They use Rick Knox as an excuse to get away with stuff in matches because that's what their fans want to see.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, they're unbelievable at creating those levels of excitement around it. But I was just like, well, he's obviously, I just thought that was a little bit too much even for me. I had another few thoughts about this as well. I've seen Ospreay and the Bucks work together. It's as magic as you'd expect.
Yeah.
Mox and the Young Bucks genuinely have got incredible chemistry. You'd think it was a styles clash, but going all the way back to the Kingston match, Double or Nothing 2021, and they've got this weird, they work together, even though you wouldn't expect them to do that much. I thought the match-ending super kick party, the actual super kicks looked weak as piss. And I was just like, they just looked really limp. They're usually so good at the thrust, like the whole point of it. I thought they're going to do that finish. Have them eat a couple. Like, go harder, slap on your thigh, or do whatever. It just felt like a few limp ones, and then it was done. I mean, like, I'm telling you, this was damn good at its best. And I've complained about every single bit of it. But with the Young Bucks, Matt, and Ospreay, and to a lesser extent Mox, even though on pay-per-view he's been godly this year, I just expected way more. And I thought the key story beat, as much as I understood why they did it, let's face it, didn't make a whole lot of sense.
No. And we'll get into, how that fed into the close of this show later on. Before that,
they timed that super kick into Ospreay's face brilliantly with the chair. I will say that.
We got the international title on the line. Carl Fletcher versus Bandido. This was
26 minutes long.
The longest match on the card. Arguably the best, despite the finish. I don't know if I go at them. They were going for a sheer drop brainbuster on the turnbuckle and missed. Still like it sucked to take.
Yeah, probably even better / more gnarly.
I really liked, because I don't really subscribe. It's wrestling. Every move, in theory, is contrived. But I get when people say, like, a 21-plex can be a bit weird because you just have to stand there. That bit where Fletcher was trying to get out of I don't know what it was called, the master lock, effectively, and he powered up Bandido to only be hit with the 21-plex because Bandido, I really like that spot.
They're getting there with the 21-plex.
Yeah.
There's always a really cool variant of it.
Because he can set it up and, like, he does it pretty much immediately after that in the match, like a proper one. It was like a dragon 21-plex, basically. Awesome stuff. Really, really like that. Fletcher's bonkers, isn't he? Some spots that he did here. And Bandido hit a frog splash.
On the outside.
Is that a good idea?
Very few good ideas in this one. Awesome ideas, but not good, if that makes sense. This match was...
Sorry, yeah. Fletcher won, yeah, like I said, with the shin drop brainbuster.
This match was as good and as nuts as you'd expect, i.e. very, very, very. After a 26-minute match, after match 3, this is where I start to go, Jesus. Like, I like the New Japan stuff. I've said this a million times. I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself. But if they're going to make the same not crowd killing mistakes, that's a massive exaggeration. But they make these choices where if the fans are dead for the next match, and they were.
Oh boy.
What the hell do you fucking expect us to say?
Yeah.
They did a 26-minute match in match 3. People have we've become so accustomed to long matches and the general raising of the athletic standard that, like, people have become normalized. Like, it's not a normal match length. Like, Epics used to be 26 minutes. Yeah. They did. You're going to do it in match 3 of a pay-per-view. The next one dies, and I can't be arsed with it, and no one can. Like, what do you expect? What do you expect? This was a bit shallow in a way that Kyle Fletcher's so strange, right? Because the physical work that he does is unbelievable. He can, like, craft matches and portray a character and add a unique, proper, nasty heel, gets embarrassed thread to these matches, which is really refreshing. But it's very obvious with Fletcher, who I don't think is all the way there yet. Like, this time last year, I was thinking this time next year, main event pay-per-views, new champion, Ospreay's first opponent. There's still this contradiction where he knows he's got to differentiate himself. He knows he's got to be this, like, blowhard who thinks he's absolutely hard, and yet he's going to get his ass kicked, and he'll pay that off with, like, a really silly bump that's fun to watch him take. And yet it's still so obvious that he's going for match of the night every night. You know?
Yeah.
Do you want to be this incredible bell-to-bell worker with, like, this unbelievable fighting spirit, and you're fighting to be the best? Or do you want to be a stooging heel with daft faces and funny bumps? These two things, it felt like a really cool evolution of that style. But he's doing a bit of old school heel work within it. That's really good.
Yeah.
Now it feels like he's trying to do too many things that oppose one another. He's trying to have his cake and eat it too. I guess what I'm trying to say is there's still a hint of desperation in his work.
There shouldn't be. It speaks for itself.
I know. He's yet another AEW guy who I think's better on telly. Yet another one. And I think that tells a story, but, you know, it's just my opinion. There's still a thread of desperation.
If you compare this to, like, the Takeshita match the other week.
I didn't like that one either. But if you look at Fletcher's TV record generally, the Ciampa one in particular, I thought they missed the peak here a little bit as well. It's like, I know what you want to do. And Fletcher, I know you want to be the next Kenny Omega and the next Will Ospreay. And you're on track, but at the same time, he's forcing it a little bit. And when you're missing the dramatic peak, and when your matches all start to look very, very similar, there's still time for him to reach that level. And what an insane level to reach. I just think this is a bit much. Thought the character of what he's trying to do is a little bit all over the place at this point. He looks like a babyface badass and then a heel the next second, you know?
Yeah.
I'm probably nitpicking. Everybody else probably loved this and thought it was the best match on the show, and maybe it was. But I think they missed the peak, and that desperation from Fletcher, I can't get away with at the minute. Talk about it. Individual spots here were insane and incredible. The way they built that powerbomb to the outside.
Jesus.
Like the way Bandito held on to Fletcher from the Sunset Flip powerbomb. I mean, again, similar to the last match, I feel like I'm nitpicking and pointing things out as opposed to just celebrating the good stuff. And yes, I am. Because elements of this physically and in terms of building drama with the spaces was fantastic. It was just a bit much.
And I don't know whether it was the fact that we had this 26-minute match or the match itself, because what came next was a double chain tag team match, the Dogs versus the Bing Bing Ging.
Talk about forcing it.
Represented by Jay White and Juice Robinson. I have nowhere near as much experience as you do of watching these sort of chain matches, but it felt watching this like every fear/question I would ever ask you watching a good chain match or a dog collar match, obviously, for example, came true. I.e., like, has anyone ever gone for a move and they've stood on the chain and then nearly killed somebody as a result of it?
Yeah.
Or, God, if I was in never want to be in a wrestling match. If I was in a wrestling match like this, I'd hate to, like, get a bit confused and get caught up in the chain, and then you have to undo it, and it's just
so awkward and long and boring.
Well, the first 5 minutes was just, what if you hit you with the chain? That was all it was in my memory of this. Which, yeah, obviously you will use. Part of the reason this match happened was Juice Robinson attacking with a chain last week. But yeah, I just felt the crowd felt like they were just either burnt out or not asked about all this.
They don't care about the characters.
And even I, for God's sake, when we just got a run in, 15 minutes into the match?
Yeah.
Yuta and Garcia get involved. So Shafir can give someone a shillelagh
when
to win the chain. To win the match.
Then you could add the shillelagh there because it's perfectly legal goal. Oh my God, terrible night for all involved. And it almost went even worse for Jay White.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, it was terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. This could not have been more poorly thought out.
So it was dominated from Finlay, wasn't it? To Jay White,
and
that's what happened
dropped
there.
him right in his fucking head. Oh my God.
Finlay got the win with the shillelagh, as I mentioned.
Right. This was cheating, and they got caught. Is the most succinct way. They're trying to critical acclaim doping. Put a chain in there because AEW come ROH has got a great history. Cody, Brody Lee, Punk, MJF, FTR, Briscoes. Right. So all right, we can take a legendary AEW stipulation. It's like the stipulation making the match in the way that some promoters try to have the belt make the man. It's like, yeah, this is one of the 23 mid-cards. This match could easily not exist. And, like, with all due respect to everyone, particularly Jay White, who's had legendary matches in his time, if they skip a pay-per-view, people are like, who cares?
Yeah.
Whereas at this point, if, like, a Bandito missed a pay-per-view, like, he's been killing it on pay-per-view all year. If these four missed a pay-per-view, I don't think anyone's like, where are they? This is a disgrace. So the match didn't need to happen. And as a result, I think they've tried to overcorrect and think, right, well, we'll just have the stipulation, make this easy. That didn't work. You've just followed 26 minutes of Kyle Fletcher Bandito, which is the most over match on the show, probably the thing that the AEW fan base at large is going to like the most. And it goes 26 minutes early, and your first win's gone after that.
Yeah.
You can get a second win later, and they did, but the first win's gone after that. You need something, a cool down, a series of sprints before you do 3 or 4 feature matches at the end. I don't know. I've been talking about it for months. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, the thing about chain matches, right, is that, as you point out, pretty much after the first 5 minutes of hit you with a chain, when they start to get a bit more adventurous, it was just stepping on chains, like, get that away. It was horrible to watch. It was just like, oh, God.
There was one good bit with Jay White pulling. It was like he was trying to get to his partner.
Yeah.
And Juice is getting choked out. And he pulls whoever he's attached to closer to him to take him out and then get to Juice. That was a good bit.
The thing with the chain is that the dog collar or whatever, right, is like, it's so... And I'm not a wrestler. It's just my opinion looking into it. It's like, it's got to be hard to modernize. And I think because genuine greats have been in that ring with that stipulation, they've made it look a lot easier than it actually should be, because it's so clunky. It's so awkward. There's so much scope for it to like be awkward around your feet and it just gets in the way of the rhythm. That I think because genuine greats have done this step in AEW and have made it look easy, it actually obscures just how awkward it can get. Like Cody Brody was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go back and watch MJF versus Punk, there's this bit, and like MJF is sharp because there's a bit where they're about to do something on the apron. Revolution 2022. And I can't remember the exact spot. Luckily, it's something MJF does to Punk that Punk reverses. And it's like, thank God. If they've thought to reverse it, brilliant. Because like MJF realizes half the chain is in the ring, half of it's out. And it's like got caught. So he has to do this like, get that bit in, out, in. Get that bit that's, and he's just like in, out, trying to like, it's like the, when wires get tangled, he's untangling it in real time. Then by the time it goes untangled, I think Punk's went, that's lasted too long. I'll do a move, or thank God you're about to do a move to me. It's 20 seconds, feels like 2 minutes, but it gets away with it because the move happened. Like Punk just does a move to MJF afterwards. I took you too long, dickhead. I've done a move. Thank God it went like that. If you go back and watch FTR Briscoes, there's an otherwise incredible legendary match deserving of all the plaudits. There's this awful bit where Dax Harwood, I don't know what he's thinking, right? MJF and, not MJF, Ricky Starks and Danielson had one on Collision. Or they did a spot with a chain. That went like, it took ages. And I think it was the Busaiku. And then by the time Danielson had wrapped the chain around his knee and did it, just kind of fell off. Dax Harwood in the double dog collar. Legendary match, and I'm nitpicking here, but I'm just trying to make the point that these matches are really probably more complicated if you modernize them in a way that Piper Valentine wasn't, because it was just a fight. They didn't do spots, they did a fight, and he can't do that with a chain. Dax Harwood wraps it around his head to do a diving headbutt, wraps it around his head. By the time he starts to jump, it's fallen off pretty much. It's like, and it made him look a tit. It made him look a tit, right? I'd be very wary of booking this again, unless there are genuine modern greats in here. And Jay White, you could argue, is the other three not so much.
Goffy's Enigma points out something in the chat that I did think of, and I meant to mention this earlier when you were talking about how they've proven people wrong, and I agree. You know, people saying like, oh, you can't have these two sort of match types back to back, or you can't do these matches like popper. You need like a crap match to cool everybody down. That's not the case. Jay White in white pants in a chain match. I went, someone is bleeding a gusher here. No blood. So I immediately thought of, I can't remember which AEW show it was, where people were like, what was off about this show? And it was like, oh, whoever the state was had said no blood. So I went, oh, I guess no blood. And then obviously Jericho, the Painmaker happens.
Yeah.
Why didn't they have any blood in this match? Because they could have bled later and it wouldn't have affected...
No, because we know it doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, bad. This is... Yeah, that was the worst match on the card.
This is brutal, in every way.
And
what a pair of arseholes. It would have sucked to have done that match.
Yeah.
And we've just dumped all over it.
I think we're not the only ones, to be fair, though. And then we got Maya World shocking the world, winning the TBS title from Hikaru Shida. Lovely moment for her. Thought Shivani laid it on a bit thick on commentary, if I'm honest.
He was the commentary team was hopeless all night. Here's another point I want to make as well. Sorry, I know I've just stepped on your dick with that take, right? Excalibur's got this thing that he does in every single match, and because there are so many matches every single night, and there's so much action on a typical AEW show, and it's intensified yet further on a pay-per-view, he has got such a narrow range of things that he says to Excalibur. When the match is about to end, or a heel's just done something that leads to a near fall. 1, 2, he's kicked out. He does it all the fucking time. 1, 2, he's got away with it. No, he's kicked out. He is it felt like he wasn't at his best. Put it this way, Excalibur. Tony Schiavone.
Mm-hmm.
What a run. Incredible run.
Oh.
It's feeling over to me now. He's had a bad year.
Felt like the Maya stuff I didn't appreciate, I'll be perfectly honest. Like, we know, and it's maybe it's an argument to be made of, like, if people were watching this and they were unaware of the horrific year that she's had, then it's worth mentioning it. I just didn't think you need to do it in such graphic detail. You could just say, she's had a real rough time of it, and now what a moment this would be on her birthday. Belated happy birthday.
Yes,
to Maya
happy
World.
birthday.
I just didn't need, and I think Mark Lee Willis even said as much in the chat earlier as well, them to necessarily lay it on that much for her. Great moment for her. I didn't feel the match matched the moment, if that makes sense.
No. People love Hikaru Shida, so I should try to be a little bit diplomatic.
I loved Hikaru Shida.
Yeah, same. There is a sludgy pacing to her matches that just they just turn me off. Like, she's clever. She can craft a match. She can make a match build. She used to be able to do, on occasions, I've always thought she was a bit uneven, but she's capable of working, cracking matches that have got a bit of fizz to them, lively. They're just sludgy these days, I find. I find them sludgy, a bit of a slog. Last few minutes are really strong. People got into it. Not for the first time this night. I thought they'd misjudged a moment and didn't build to it, like, brilliantly well. If you're going to do this Maya World story, I think maybe a few more crushing near misses. Proper go-home promo. I missed a lot of Dynamite last week. Did she go in the middle of the ring with a microphone? I'm guessing the answer's no. And cut the promo of her life, or get the platform to cut the promo of her life ahead of a big career moment.
Just 1 second. No.
Nope.
They had a video package.
Hyping
it up, I will say that.
Obligatory.
But yeah, it was a strange ending of this match. Shida brought in a kendo stick. Referee Paul Turner took it away from her. He also stopped Shida from hitting running knees. After that, Shida hit a Falcon Arrow. Maya gets a rope break. She grabs the referee, turns around, and fall away slam for the shock title win for Maya World.
Yeah, it's like, if you look at the timing of the meant to be big moments, twin that with the lack of real promotion on TV, lack of TV time, the abrupt nature of the finishes. Doesn't feel like a lot of care and attention was put into the two big women's victories.
Yeah, we've got a lot to say about that later on. Very surreal moment to talk about. Before we get there, tag titles on the line. Cage and Cope versus Claudio and Pac from the Death Riders. Claudio and Pac attack Copeland during his entrance before the fans are singing along and before Cage could be out there to help his mate. And it was sort of just a prolonged beatdown of Cage and Cope for a long time. Cope got knocked into the audience as there was a sort of 2-on-1 beatdown. And it looked as though all hope was lost until Cope finally recovered and was there at ringside. Where was the bit? I'm trying to find in my notes here. There was a bit where I think it was Cage was crawling over to his corner, and I was like, Cope in there, mate. He's not, even if he was, he's dead on the floor.
Yeah.
And then there was a tag, and I was like, doesn't strike me this is the man who's the fresher of the two. But he was fired up, of course. And you got a nice moment with a nice, not bothered about this. The zoom out of just like Cope finally having a moment to actually drink it in because he's getting taken out as part of his entrance. And that just fires him up even more. He goes for a spear. Pac leapfrogged and Claudio.
Leapfrog, what's that?
Sorry, leapfrogged.
Better.
Claudio hit an assisted neutralizer, but Cage dived in to break it up at the last second. Claudio and Cage fight to the floor. Pac fired up here to do his like bounce lariat. Cope brilliantly counters that into a crossface. Claudio makes the save. There's locomotion corner attacks from the Death Riders. But Cope and Cage fire back with multiple spears. Pop-up spear to Pac by Cope. Gets the 1-2-3. Post-match, the Young Bucks come down to congratulate them. And it is confirmed we are getting Cope and Cage versus the Young Bucks at All In.
Excellent. That match, that prospect. This one was merely good.
Yes.
It's weird because part of me thinks, Christ, that's a long, long, long beatdown of the baby faces. On a show like this, it's bordering on the interminable. However, if you look at the match in isolation, the pacing of it, how they got the crowd into the babyface comeback at the end, quite an understated bit of proper old guys who know what they're doing display.
Yes.
A really good exhibition of pace, build, understated, but in a good way. If this had gone second or something, I think I would have been even higher on it. This is a really good, elegant, slow burn wrestling match. But because I was exhausted, having been awake for a mere 2.5 hours or whatever it was, which is not a good sign in terms of how this pay-per-view on the whole was sequenced, I just thought, Christ almighty, it's taken a while for this one to kick into gear. But they paced it perfectly, really, considering if you look at the volume of like, oh, you bastards, and then, oh, you bastards, you bastards, you bastards. Oh, the baby faces are into it. There's the finish. Like, it's a really good bit of like, a really good waveform. I was just ready for a sprint. But when I'm watching an AEW pay-per-view, even the better ones, I'm always ready for a sprint. Going back to my point about how every single match, even the really good ones, just had these like seconds and minutes of like, dead air, what we're doing. They need to do sprints on these shows. I'm sorry, I know people get bored by the conversation, the fact that I repeat the conversation. The conversation exists every cycle because a lot of people have it. I was watching for work the other day, Royal Rumble 2000. I don't know, and they're fed. I know, right? Royal Rumble 2000, Hardy's versus Dudley's table match. There's not a single wasted second. Not a single wasted second. Not one. It's this. Bam, bam, bam. Incident. And guess what? You can have the pacing and the emotional attachment and the slow burn for Cactus Jack, Triple H. There's space for both. If they did... my perfect pay-per-view undercard is Hardy's, Dudley's tables, Royal Rumble 2000, an awesome Tanaka match, one of the shorter ones. Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio, like sprint, no dead space, no weird dead minutes where nothing seems to happen and it's slow and people are just waiting. Sprint, incident, get me jazzed up. And then when I'm like, oh, I really care about these main event level wrestlers, oh, I'm going to strap in and just be patient with this one. That's the way to do it. Not a good night for Pac.
Sold very well, I'll say that.
No, I'm saying like the result, he's lost the match, man.
Oh, I see. Yes, yeah.
He's lost.
He's not, well, not only has he lost the match, Sidge, this is the other double whammy. He's lost this match, and then later on, spoilers, he's been hit with a brutal hidden blade from a man he considered a friend, and probably a man who, you know, he's got a football-themed T-shirt as well. He probably had a great deal of chat with Will Ospreay, if they're not talking about, like, you know, who they fancy bagging next or whatever, about transfer rumours.
Absolutely. Like, in Pac, you know, he's lost. Big chance to win the World Tag Team titles. He's not really tasted gold for a while, Pac, so he's going to be upset. I worry about Pac, you know. He's been, by his own admission, a miserable bastard for like nearly a decade at this point. I worry about him. Let's see if Newcastle United have got any irons in the old fire transfer rumours, and if there's any update on the Bruno Guimaraes situation, of course.
Yes.
Quick check ski of that.
Lots of wild rumours flying around about players Arsenal want to buy this summer.
Yes.
Vinny Jr. being linked to them. Have I just dreamt?
Ornstein as well. Ornstein is, and you know, he's no longer the, oh, this has happened, or this is happening, and it's close, and this is the first time you've heard about it. He started to like do, oh, they're thinking about it, which never used to be his style, but anyway, let's see if there's anything that can cheer Pac up. Because I do worry about Pac. I do worry about my fellow Geordie. Sure doesn't look like it. Rumors going around that Harvey Barnes might be signing a new deal.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what, we are going to... There are certain times when Harvey Barnes plays for us where you're like, do something. Does he stutter a step? And I'm like, just, score your wonder goal.
Get to the point.
Yeah, he'll do these stutter steps, and then he can drift in and out of games. Then when he gets the ball, he'll, just sort of tap it and dribble very slowly in front of the fullback. And I'm like, what are you actually trying to do here? And yet the amount of times he's popped up with a vital goal, and some of them last season were very vital because we didn't look like we had to grab the game by the scruff of the neck and make something special happen. Yeah. Harvey Barnes is that player, and as much as I don't want him to start every single game,
good squad player.
Great squad player, great output, pivotal moments player as well. So happy if he's signing a new deal. Let's just check my other source to see if there's anything breaking right now. Nope. There is chat that we are after SC Braga goalkeeper Lucas Hornacek. I don't know how much of this is agent driven.
One of them, is it?
Or if it's we like him, but we haven't really firmed up our interest, and an agent's thought, well, I'll get my client's name out there.
Because it's close enough.
If people think Newcastle are in for him, then, a lot of other clubs might think, oh, well, we can't let them get in front of us. It happens. So, sorry, Pac, nothing concrete, really. Nothing concrete today. But keep your eyes peeled, because... as I've said before, a lot of this stuff seems to break in an evening.
Yes, it's a very good point.
Because, the general working hours, if you like, I know it all gets done 24/7 on WhatsApp these days, but in terms of an intense, scheduled round of talks, they're not doing that at, midnight. They're going to do that during core business hours across Europe, so, and you don't really catch wind of that on the evenings.
Yes.
So, keep checking, Pac. Hey, keep smiling.
That reminds me of a very, very good spot from the one I think should probably still be AEW Women's World Champion a little bit later on in case I forget to mention it. I want to read a few comments just because they're more prescient now than later. Hi to Mimi Boris, who's listening, viewing us whilst at work. Sorry to interrupt your work with our nonsense, but she does echo something that Murray mentioned earlier. Murray's comment on the news about My World being a future star made me sad, because in reality, no one is going to get over in a company that treats their division in the same regard as a halftime show.
Yeah.
Not wrong. I do Persing 66.
Yeah, sorry, it's just one of those where I remember when the Mercedes match was happening, thinking she'll probably get a moment, but it'll feel like something they feel the need to do.
Yeah. Hope she gets something in and around All In weekend. Persing 66 says, a sicko who's been to many collisions, I missed this, and seems many did, or just watched for habit, should be a 3-hour dynamite for Willow. Not sure a Kenny win. Also, Wilbourn Collision is the best show of the week.
A Collision guy is saying they couldn't be arsed with this. Wow.
Matt Rains said, I'll just read this now in case I forget later. Happy Monday, guys. Absolutely loathed 95% of this show.
Ooh.
Boring and quiet for most of this dynamite. Sorry, Redemption.
Mm-hmm.
But if I apply the Wilbourn method of just remembering the last thing to happen on a show, top 3 show ever.
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
I think that's the thing. I don't want to drive forward that agenda. I don't want to say I was right all along and I was first and everyone's catching up with me. I don't want to be that guy because it's insufferable behavior. 1, 2, I'm still in mind to try not to be a goldfish. And remember, they've had a cracking, incredibly well-received year on pay-per-view. It wasn't that long ago that people were saying this Rivals 2021 is the best AEW year ever in terms of completeness. I do wonder if it's catching up with them. Is it catching up with them or is it an anomaly? Let us know, actually. I want to know in the old chat ski. I don't know yet. People in this game, the content game, and I get it. We're not going to call this video worst pay-per-view ever, beginning of the end for AEW. We don't do that. But I do wonder if they've kind of just approach that line very often of the more can be more. We'll do what we want. The more the better. Is it biting them on the arse at this point? I don't know.
Oh, hi to Liz Banana in the chat. Coffee's Enigma says, could be anomaly because fans are more geared for All In. That's fair.
Yeah.
Sorry, Liz Banana says, listening to this today because I just found out Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7 on Sirius XM sold their soul to the devil. Welcome.
Liz.
And John Catter makes a good point. There's a few questions.
Water's cold at times.
Yeah. John Catter's got a few things to say. I don't want to mention one of his things here because it feels appropriate with what you've just said. John writes, has TK forgotten that he once knew how to book a fun squash like early Wardlow?
I know. It's wild, you know. Like, I don't know if I think this is a feature and not a bug, but I've spoken previously about this and said, like, there was a point not too long ago when, and it lasted for years, this conversation, and it was like, what is AEW's identity? I remember that word would get used loads in fan discussion circles. What is AEW's identity? Do they want to be the American version of New Japan? Do they want to be a territory? This was more prominent when Cody and the Elite were booking their own stuff respectively. But even as into like 2023, they were doing wacky crap. Or 2024, I think it was, with like Cope and Malachi Black bloodbaths. And Jericho was doing some rotten sub-WWE stuff that even if you could pretend it was a parody, was still just as bad, so it didn't matter. And it's like, is it Jericho Sports Entertainment Hour? Is it a proper, or just doing like diet WWE stuff with Better Than You Baby, Jimmy Jacobs, in the Continental Classic? How is this the same company?
Yeah.
You never hear that word identity anymore because they've settled on this. They have settled on where the best wrestler will do the long matches and the epic pay-per-views and bangers galore out the ass. And we'll book, we're obviously telling stories, but what you get is long, great matches with a great roster of talent. And somewhere along the way, Tony Khan has gone, this is what my fans like, and I don't blame him one bit, right? When he's had bad faith actors pelting him constantly. He's had even like people who want to love it and often do love it question it, what he's doing a lot of the time. And he's had wrestlers saying, I want to do a bloodbath. And he's probably thinking, really? Okay. He's grown a pair and thought, you know what? This is what I like and this is what I'm doing going forward. And I think I don't blame him for having some conviction and saying that this is what we do here. This is where the best wrestle. This is our identity. This is what I want. It's my company. This is what we're doing. He loves it. He seemingly absolutely loves it. It's just, come on, mate, do a sprint. Do a goddamn sprint. Like, it's funny. Sorry, one more thing. Darby Sammy Guevara, Revolution 2020, was only a sprint because Sammy was carrying an ankle injury because he'd done it on one of the Dynamites in February 2020. So it's like, right, we'll do a sprint and just get in and get out. But making it, that was magic, that. And it really helped the flow of that particular card. Like, the fact that he's only rarely done an actual, honest-to-God sprint when he had to is telling.
Some great responses in the chat. Thank you, everybody, for this. So we'll get back to the review in a second, but I want to read some of these out. Tuttle says, if every match is over 15 minutes, reconsider, and not by making the women's matches shorter. General consensus is an anomaly, and I'll agree with most people on that.
That's the thing. I don't want to be that dickhead. The sky isn't falling.
No, Matt Rain says 4 great pay-per-views, 1 bad one. Seems like an exception as opposed to the norm. We have a comment here from Mr. W Maybe. There we go. I was trying to find it. Feels like an anomaly, but an avoidable one since they've seen years of Backlash level pay-per-views to avoid putting on one of their own. I think that's absolutely spot on. Mimi says, I'm trying to fix a transmission and listen to this at the same time. Been there. And
No
idea. I couldn't change a tyre, mate.
I can't drive a car.
Okay. But ask and you shall receive. Travis, AEW1 is in the chat. And I was going to ask when he said, hi, guys, a second ago for his thoughts beyond what we've heard from Matt. And he's already written it. As someone who was in the building, I've never experienced an AEW show like that. Take that however you like.
Oof. See, that's odd, that. Travis's online avatar is AEW1.
Yep.
Or at least it was on Twitter.
Yeah, he's in the chat as well. Yeah, same.
He's predisposed to loving it. Sounds like he didn't love it.
No, I think it's fair.
I think it's more than just the show was long and the matches weren't as big as they can sometimes be on an AEW pay-per-view. We'll get to it. People have got significant issues with the big storylines at the minute.
Yep. But hi to Mark Lee Willis as well, who says, ignoring the Painmaker gimmick, his match perked me up. Me too, Mark. Let's get to it. The Painmaker Chris Jericho versus Tommaso Ciampa. No holds barred, obviously. Real glad that Tommaso Ciampa didn't go full, like, what am I going to wear then? Because you're opposite the Painmaker. He's doing the heavy lifting here. I said to you earlier, I've made real good use of my time because it's a very busy Monday for us here today. We've got SmackDown, we've got Raw, and obviously we've got all this to cover as well.
You're writing as well, aren't I? Doing a good one. Murray pitched me this. The six most insane wrestling news stories ever.
Wow.
And it's not like, what happened in 2007 or like the Montreal screw job. The brief is a story that was never going to happen or could never happen and yet was somehow reported. So either the reporter believed it could happen or the subject believed it could happen and someone's reported it. So the example is the Shibata brain story. So I've tried to find 5 more.
That is a high bar.
How did you think that? Why did you write that?
He scooped his brain. That's what they do. Not a doctor, are you, Dave? Okay. Yes, let's get to the Painmaker and Tommaso Ciampa.
What a day on Twitter that was.
It was
I'm
unbelievable.
telling you now, Twitter's horrible. I know this. There's days where it's like, if I can't ever give it up for good because I'll just go back on if something like that happens.
Travis says the Dogs Bang Bang Gang match was everyone's piss break match. It's probably why the audience wasn't as into it. Anyway, Painmaker versus Tommaso Ciampa. I've made a list of every item that was used in this match to make use of the brief time that I had before coming in here. Yes, Vanders, I will mention pile driving, the soft toy, which I subsequently learned was UP. That's the Montreal Canadiens mascot. So there's obviously barbed wire bat. Jericho brings that out with him. A chair that Tommaso Ciampa had instead for their sort of duel at the start. The Painmaker had brought his bag of sand with him that he utilised early on. There was a fire extinguisher. Did he shoot a fire extinguisher in his own face at one point to like fire himself up? And they were like, check this guy, he's bloody mental he is. A fairy tale ending through a table.
That looked gruesome.
I thought Tommaso Ciampa had broken his own leg.
Yeah. I thought Chris Jericho had broken his neck or his face.
It was horrible.
Awesome.
Hockey stick. Obviously, we're getting into local stuff now. A bin that featured a Boston Bruins jersey, I'm reliably informed. Yeah, the mascot that was hit by Tommaso Ciampa and then hit with a pile driver.
It's Project Champ, I wanna.
Yeah, sorry.
I think so anyway. I'm useless with move names.
We're getting into the good stuff now. Thumbtack covered hockey pucks.
2 types of suck. Like, a hockey puck would be awful to bump on. You put a little pin on it.
Yeah. Sandpaper.
Love that. I've got thoughts on that.
So you get your juice. A barbed wire table. A pad, knee or elbow, dealer's choice, covered in tacks. It was used for a Judas effect towards right at the end of this match. Tony Schiavone said a pencil. Something that was stabbed into Tommaso Ciampa's leg.
I'm so shocked that Jericho didn't do the whole, here it is.
Yeah.
Soak it in. Make the noise like you think that is going to suck to take. Do I even want to see it? Oh, get that good noise, that spooked noise, that unsettled noise, and then do it. A weird oversight.
What was that? What was that? And he used it twice, didn't he?
Weird oversight from someone as experienced as Chris Jericho there.
A mirror that Chris Jericho, the Painmaker was sent through. A bit that made me laugh out loud at how thick Chris Jericho is sometimes, he pulled out a second Painmaker mirror.
Imagine him just doing that backstage. It's so lame.
It's got written, like, he's written Painmaker on it, on it. Painmaker mirror, so when he's doing his makeup, he's also got barbed wire in front of his face. And the funniest of all, so he's been put through the first mirror, hasn't he, Jericho? He's taken like a superplex or whatever.
Yeah.
Through.
Great. Psh.
Yeah. Oh, and the shot of like, horrible. Don't worry, the Painmaker's going to get his own back. He's got a second mirror that's wrapped in barbed wire. And you know what would really suck? Being hit by the other side of that mirror that's neither glass nor barbed wire. What are you doing, Chris?
It's kind of like a what is it?
It's just a slight wooden back of it.
It's like it's
You remove it if you want to put a picture in a frame, maybe.
that bit of the picture frame. If you bonked me over the head with it, I'd probably go, ow.
I was just like, and then he hit him with the other side, and I was like, it's too late now.
Yeah, because it all fell out.
Anything more? Oh, Green Mist and a Drill, which subsequently won the match for the Painmaker. With I will say, I saw some people getting confused about this online. Oh, why would the referee stop it at that? Tommaso clearly taps, or at least says uncle at that point. So they don't.
I guessed that, even if I didn't see it.
Exactly.
This
was fun.
This was fun, right? This was fun and fair play. They went. It was demented. So committed to the violence, to creating this absolute crazy spectacle. I prefer the TV match, honestly, and I think that's been my refrain throughout the year. But you cannot gloss over or overlook just how hard they went to create. Like, Chris Jericho probably thought, you know what, it's been a while since I stole one of these pay-per-views, because when he got pressed over and over again, and the fact that they kept asking the question, i.e. they being members of the media, probably should have told the story. He has been asked a lot, and I've seen it on like aggregated sites. I've probably aggregated one of those stories before. When are you retiring, mate? You thought about that? And then I read a great quote about some hockey or baseball star saying, why are you retiring? This is out of the blue. And he went, because I never wanted people to ask when I was going to. His way of saying that if you keep getting asked that, it means like you've declined and it ain't ever coming back and you've lost it, and it's sad that you're hanging on. Chris Jericho got asked that question a long time. And, you know, the ego on him is a skyscraper. We know this. His rationale kind of way of saying, his way of like deflecting it was, look, I'm not the best in the world anymore or whatever. On any given night, I can still steal a show. And until
I'm as good now as I ever was.
It's kind of thing.
I like that phrase you use.
It's Toby Keith's.
Is it?
Yeah, I didn't make it up.
Oh,
can you imagine if I did?
You said it first in front of me. Ipso facto, it's your phrase.
Thank you very much. I will take it. So his thing was like, I can still steal a show on any given night, and until that day comes when I can't, I won't be here anymore. When was the last time Chris Jericho had the best match on an AEW pay-per-view? Christ almighty.
Yeah, no idea.
A while ago. He's had some unbelievable matches on TV.
Beach Break was great.
Yeah, but then it had MJF Omega on it.
Yeah.
He hasn't stolen a show in a long time. A TV in 2022 feels about right.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm being a bit harsh and I've failed to remember, but I don't think so. If someone said this is the best match on the show in their opinion, I'd say yeah.
Yeah.
For me,
if I had to go back and watch one match on this show, I'd watch this again.
Yeah, it was demented. And I will say this about Chris Jericho, right? He's probably thought, right, I need the shortcuts if I'm going to do this. And without picking this exact stipulation, he has approached this with that terrifying, transgressive energy of a landmark AEW Texas death match. I'd probably put it below that level in terms of like, I mean, it's not Hangman Swerve, the first Texas death that they did. It wasn't as good as that. Wasn't as good as the All In Texas main event, obviously. But in terms of the commitment and the effort, like, he's gone in there thinking, I'm going to do one of the most violent AEW matches ever, and think of the ground that covers. And without being as good, I think he's nailed the spectacle, if not the match for me. The spectacle was quite incredible. The match, the thing with the drill, stupid. It's stupid.
Don't lick it afterwards as well, because you immediately go, oh, that's not right.
Stupid. You could argue it was stupid. They absolutely got me with that thumbtack elbow pad Judas effect near fall. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, you got me.
And I winced at the barbed wire table. They both had to literally go to get off.
Aye. They lived up to the spectacle of the most violent AEW matches ever. It wasn't one of the best, most violent AEW matches ever, but all I can say to them both is fair play. Stupid finish that I didn't like, but fair play.
I hope that off the back of that, you know, London is a great city.
I love London.
Great, like, varied culture, lots of different people out there. There's, you know, I'm a firm believer there's someone out there for everyone.
And you can't
I'm just saying, you know, if Painmaker wants to find love, maybe he comes to London in August.
Go on Hinge in London.
Fish in a barrel.
London's great, you know, because you can just go to one landmark, must-visit location in London, fall out of it, walk 10 meters, and find another great activity. Yeah. Can't you?
Painmaker, meet a girl, take her up the Shard. Who knows what happens?
Let's talk about us.
Yeah, this also happens in London overall in weekend, which we'll be able to talk more about tomorrow. Sidge, this was kind of the
not the Shard.
The section of the show, because I've glossed over. There was a bit with the demand earlier on.
Ricochet stock has fallen.
Yeah, it's dead.
One thing I need to say about Jericho, Ciampa, is that he got away with it again. He little bastard. He's just lost on telly and won the pay-per-view again.
Yeah,
he's going to do that until we're all dead.
Yeah, I saw someone say, there's no chance Jericho was ever losing to it in a bounce, mate. Yeah. So there's that. There was a bit also that I should mention with Mox and Ospreay saying, Mox being like, when you see that shot, you need to take it. You can't be mates with everyone and then become world champion. It's kind of one or the other. The reason I mention these is because I want to mention the next backstage segment. Because there's Divine Dominion with the legend that is Mick Foley. Oh boy, can I not wait to chat to Phil Chambers about this tomorrow, about his hero. They tell him to sit down and shush, and he does so. And they say, have you seen anyone more dominant than us two? And he's like, oh, no, not recently. And they say, who's left to beat? He says, the Brawling Birds. And I think, great, there it is. We are set. They've said the thing. We're set for Wembley. Back to you guys in the studio, right? Not quite. Lena Cross and Megan Bain ask if he truly believes that the Brawling Birds stand a chance in hell against them. He's sort of a bit, he's being towered over here. And they say, you know what? Whilst you're sitting, maybe you should bow down. And first comment we got from Mimi Burris in the chat is, I think verbatim, what the hardcore legend Mick Foley said. And that was, bow, wow, 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 wow. Bow, wow, wow. Bow, wow, wow. Back to you guys.
Right. This is creepy in the extreme.
I showed this. I was walking in today and bumped into Ryan, one of our brilliant editors.
You traumatized the poor lad.
Yeah.
Lovely, lovely, quiet, shy, generous guy.
And one of the best guys at WhatCulture.
And you just traumatized him.
Yeah, he sort of said, oh, you're right, I had a good weekend. And I was like, yeah, I was going all right. And I had to wake up this morning to watch AEW Redemption. And I was saying, I'm not spoiling anything. It was just, all those points with me. And then walked in. The first thing we say to each other is just, bow, wow. I was like, what's going on? If you don't watch anything for Redemption, out of order, Ryan, Watched the Mick Foley backstage interview segment, and then we did the news and came out and said, "What do you reckon?" Then Ryan, he went, "What have you just shown me?"
I'll say this right. Mick Foley, by the standards of a professional wrestler, like people say, you know what, WWE were complete arseholes to him when you think about it. Like they always treat him like dirt on TV. Like not quite Jim Ross tier, but not too far away. And if you look at everything he did, like completely, along with others, granted, in 1997, completely changed the complexion and complexity of what a character can be, or characters can be, with these alter egos. Saved The Undertaker's career, made people realize he can work, made Vince McMahon realize he can work, and the streak doesn't happen without Foley and all those WrestleMania matches. He makes Triple H.
Yep.
I mean, Christ, that was Mick Foley's fucking Oppenheimer moment. That. The evil he wrought on this world by making him a main eventer. Thanks, Mick. I mean, unbelievable achievement.
Yes.
But you are Oppenheimer for that. Does the same thing with... Puts Edge over the top. Puts Randy Orton over the top. Creates so many beloved moments in the Attitude Era. Is the third biggest star, and he is, not Triple H, Foley. Isn't Foley a great guy? And it's like, you know what? He's got this weird relationship with Mr. McMahon. That's, you know, let's overlook that. Let's overlook that and celebrate Foley's achievements and making wrestling better and being one of the nicer guys on the scene. Oh, he's weird about women, isn't he? He is very, 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 very weird about women. Why? When it's that one asterisk that you just want to forget about Foley. Why would you put him on TV in a position to look like that? Like, you've just reminded people of his worst aspect of his whole personality. God, that guy loved Melina. It was gross.
Yeah. Chat's going off about it though, so. Mankind's best friend, as Daryl Falconer writes.
I like that.
That's good stuff.
Dog food love.
That's good as well. Yeah, everyone just kind of agreeing it was genuinely hard to watch this.
Yeah.
Back to the wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
National title. Andrade's won the national title from Mark Davis.
We talked about this at the start.
Yeah, happy for him.
Happy for him. It's
Mark Davis has been great. I will say this. I don't want to just dismiss all this.
It's one of those where I can only say the most detached, I'm tired, nice things about it. They got the crowd in the end. They observed the size difference and struggled accordingly and had Andrade work hard to get his stuff in. This crowd was eerily silent, and I'm thinking, I'm right, you know.
I forgot about this match.
I forgot what was happening. It came on. I was like, oh, no. There are times when I think, you know what, you're wrong. Everybody else loves it. You're just a miserable prick. Part of me thinks I'm right. You cannot do a pay-per-view this long and book a guy with this much of a promotional push as you have Andrade this year, because he's going to go out and die. You should put everyone you want to push in the best possible position to succeed. It's basics.
Just to quickly circle back to Mick Foley, by the way, Matt Rains in the chat says, I felt like Jim seeing a woman on Dynamite. What the fuck is that? With regards to...
What, man? What?
Oh, I'm excited to hear what Jim and Joe got to say.
What the fuck is that?
What do you want to know?
What the fuck is that?
I don't know what Jim thought of Divine Dominion on the Dynamite preview this week. Also, and I'll hold my hands up on this one as well, and give all credit to Andy Murray, because I'm with you, Sidge. Got a lot to cover in a 5-hour pay-per-view before our 9 a.m. start, so I skipped to the entrances. Do not sleep on Andrade's new theme. It is class.
All right. I missed friggin' Judas Priest.
Yeah.
You've got to make up your minutes, and I can't double speed it.
Yeah, Andrade's quite the entrance now. Yeah, he won with the spinning back elbow and the DM to win the national title. Then we turn our attention to Tekla versus Willow Nightingale for the AEW Women's title. Whoa, I don't know, it's going to take me a while to get over how I feel about this match, because you've got... Sorry. Wrong way. 1 second. Apologies.
Jesus Christ.
Mercedes...
Money.
Watching along here, she's facing the winner at Wembley. And I went into it, and I love Willow Nightingale. I've always been a fan of hers. And I thought, well, I might not agree with it, but what a moment it'll be for Willow to win the AEW Women's title. And then again, like, Tekla has been, we're all in agreement, a sensational champion throughout 2026. Just given crumbs to work off and produced numerous...
Giving crumbs and feeding families with them.
Indeed. Produced so many moments of magic throughout this year, whether it be in matches, on commentary, on promos, whatever it might be. In this match, where she's got a submission on her legs or something, she just goes back and you're like, okay, she's doing the thing, spider thing. And then she grabs Willow's mouth. Smile anyway!
Fish hooks. She's just got such a brain for it.
Just excellent. To even the finish of this match, of like, Sky Blue gets involved to put Tekla's foot on the ropes.
Oh, that did not go well.
Do you think the referee saw it, Sidge? I think he was staring goddamn right at it, to be honest.
Because they're not improv. They go, you're out of here.
But obviously that takes Willow outside to take out Sky Blue. And I thought, here we go. Here's how we get the triple threat. She had the match won. Interference, involvement with the interference, slides back in, spear from Tekla. We'll do it that way. And then not only is that not the finish, i.e. Tekla winning, the win for Willow is just Tekla missed a curb stomp, roll up, or backslide. 1, 2, 3. That's it. The end of Tekla's reign. Happy for Willow. They were very quick at putting that graphic up of Willow, and with the title, I think, actually. Willow, title over her shoulder. Mercedes, Wembley, obviously. Wonderful moment for Willow. Amazing story of, like, coming back from injury from where she was a few months ago. I felt weird about all of this.
I felt so weird, and I need to mention, I thought the match was really strong as well.
Yes.
Like, Tekla is so great, as you point out with the smile thing. The fish hooks of just... She expresses herself in every second of the match.
Yeah.
When I was talking about, there are so many matches on this show where I'm thinking, God, he's not doing nout. And if you add up all the minutes of just, oh, God, get to the next phase of this one. Or, right, you're in this pretty boggy second act. Can we start getting towards the finish? Why do main event pacing when you're not a main eventer? Like, all these minutes added up to, like, I'm telling you, an hour of just dead time nothing. None of that in this. Tekla has got such an unbelievable, like, acumen for performing. She knows that you can't waste a second. She's in it. She feels it every second. Thought, like, action-wise, this was really strong. They worked together
early on.
Yeah, she's a nasty piece of work. Like, when time came for Willow to come back in, Willow looked great as well.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
really emphatic offense. Like, lots to like about this. And then just an abrupt ending, and it was the worst possible result and the worst possible timing. Like, Tekla, considering how little the AEW women get, has genuinely performed a miracle.
Yep.
In terms of getting this over. And if she's not doing anything prominent, she deserved nothing less than the AEW Women's World title at Wembley. If they might do a women's gauntlet that she can win or feature prominently in, and that's not enough for the year she's had. Willow Nightingale versus Mercedes, right? Willow's already had the big AEW win over her on telly.
And she's the babyface.
And it's not as if, like, they've been building to that moment for years and years and years. And shame about Tekla, but, it's time to do this match. She's beaten Mercedes on telly, like what, earlier this year or over Christmas?
Yeah. Over Christmas.
So what we're doing here, it doesn't feel like this big thing left to do even. Maybe they thought Tekla and Mercedes was a weird match for them both being a heel. I mean, it's AEW. Look at the friggin' Death Riders.
Everyone's going to be cheering Mercedes anyway.
I know.
Wembley.
No one's been cheering. Yeah, everyone's cheering Willow.
But now everyone's going to be cheering Willow, yeah.
It's, I thought they could have turned Tekla situational babyface. People love her against Mercedes. Anyway, like, it's not as if they care about the babyface heel dynamic. The Death Riders this year have, like, they were in a match this very show with two baby faces. One of them's Christian Cage, but come on. They've had feuds and matches against baby faces, and yet they've had a mini program with the heels in the Shane Taylor Promotions stable. They had this thing with the Don Callis family for ages. John Moxley's basically saying, "Fuck your head injury, kill him." That's a heel thing. Not your babyface attribute. No. So they evidently don't give a toss about strict babyface heel dynamics in the men's division. So if that is their reason, and I'm not saying it is, but if that is their reason for not doing Tekla Mercedes, it's a joke.
A lot of this is reflected in the chat, by the way. Persing 66. This is so sad. Willow should have been in 5 segments building her tonight and her journey. Made her feel like she belongs in Mercedes. AEW just treats the ladies like placeholders, not wrestlers. John Carter says, given AEW's history with its women's division, the concern is Tekla now just gets disappeared. God, I hope not. Saw some more comments from earlier on. Mike 6BITW. Why did Willow winning feel so weird? I never thought I'd feel bad about Willow becoming the world champion, yet here we are.
How have you? That needs to be repeated. How have we reached a point? Because it's a great point that the commenter has just pointed out. How do you fuck this up? How do you bungle it so badly? Where when Willow Nightingale wins the AEW Women's World Title, people are a little bit dejected because of the timing, and it's just a crap bit of timing and decision making there.
It was another question Tekla here, or related to Tekla, that I wanted to mention because I don't want to lose it later. Quasi-A. Hey lads, with how good Tekla's commentary has been, is it time to add a veteran women's wrestler to the colour commentary schedule shuffle with Taz, Nigel and Brian?
CW. Come on.
They could come on for the match just before the main event on Dynamite and then leave again.
Yeah.
Just a thought on it.
It's AEW, I mean.
Mimi says, your first mistake is thinking they put any thought into any of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Please. The company who were fine, this is David Esposito. The company who were fine rolling with MJF versus Cole for the men's world title at the first All In, now trying to shoehorn Willow versus Mercedes. Like the story be the story. The story is Tekla.
Yeah.
Hear any arguments from me? I do hope this is something they, not necessarily course correct, because this could be the plan all along, but they do something with this on Dynamite, or certainly do something big.
That's the thing. There's a disclaimer on all of these podcasts, and we do a gimmick. Oh, hands held up, because we like being wrong when we're cynical. So maybe Tekla will, but they've done the match graphic now. That's kind of the rule.
Yeah, I did think that.
That is the rule.
Matt Rains says, feels like both companies have seen the ticket sales and just completely rushed into the big matches instead of staying the course. MJF and Tekla not walking into Wembley as champs is criminal. Yeah, if you'd have told me 3 months ago, there's two champions, neither of them, that walk into Wembley with the belts, I'd be like, you insane?
I know. Again, part of me thinks with MJF, he's clever. If this show hasn't drawn and his name's on it, it's not the best look for him. Maybe he's been clever and he's picked his spot. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe it's all Tony Khan's ideas out of that. Because there was reports that it was MGF who's lobbied for the TV. Who knows? Who knows what goes on there? I think he's clever. The Tekla thing's a disgrace, though.
David Esposito as well also earlier on said, this show underscored what a load-bearing stud MJF is. Remove him, and all of a sudden, all those small cracks that had been papered over become glaring.
I think that's a really good take as well. And again, I do want to think it's an anomaly. The rest of the pay-per-views have been good. Stop being so reactionary, etc. I'm trying to tell myself this. But there are problems in AEW, even in a really acclaimed year. Too many titles, too many wrestlers, too many people just taking up space. Odd storytelling choices, particularly over the last 2 months. Maybe there's a point to be made there. And again, if MJF was like, I'll do the main event at Wembley, I'll sell the tickets, I'll do all that, and maybe he friggin' did. After the year he's had, like, AEW was like, the closest it's come to being back was all in Texas. Then 2 months after that, we're like, you've squandered it. Frittered away with your money matches and your all-star tags and your nothingness. MJF is the guy who brought it back with his title reign.
De Boss Mortos, more comments here. I like Willow, but Tekla deserved to go to Wembley as champion. Yeah, it's not even like if she gets the match, she's walking in as the champ. She's now just a spare wheel in the lore of Mercedes and Willow. And Mark Lee Willis says, unless Monet had come back a face when she returned, I don't think her and Tekla one-on-one would have worked. I'll be rooting for Willow all in, but I can't see Monet losing and DJing later in the night. Yeah, we might have clued people on as a post-championship celebration at the Crystal Club with Sweet Chin Disco.
She might just play some happy songs to cheer her up. Everyone needs cheering up after a loss.
Yeah.
Let's just check Pac 1 second.
Well, as you do that, I'll see if I can read any more comments that we've had. Sorry if I've missed yours earlier on.
Let's just say, Pac, he seems like a really sad bloke, Have you ever seen him smile? Like in the last 10 years?
No.
He does know that you won a cup, right?
Me and Jack the Jobber saw him on a night out in Newcastle, I remember, because we were walking around town. And we both went, from behind, that bloke looks exactly like Neville. And then he turned around. Oh, it is.
Oh, it's Neville.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
Nothing really. What are Arsenal doing with Bruno as well? Like, apparently there's been bids, they're in talks, and, Romano reckons there's been offers rejected, but they're coming back with a new one, and yet Keith Downey and Luke Edwards are saying they haven't talked to us at all. Arsenal getting them made to ask Bruno out is basically what's happening here. Nothing can just bid, get fucking over with.
John Catter also wrote earlier on, apologies that I missed this. John wrote, outside of the very top of the card, AEW has issues everywhere. They need to realize that there's more to wrestling than the in-ring. This was dull.
Yep.
I'll ask you that one at the end to remind me to ask you Steve Nicholacapul's question at the end, in case I forget. But main event time. Kenny Omega versus Kevin Knight for the AEW World title. Got a lot of time. I don't think anyone bought Kevin Knight was winning this.
No.
He tried his best of trying to, warm the crowd up.
It was a really good individual performance.
And Omega worked with him to be like, when he was stood in the ring and come on, bring it, come on, hit me and what have you. And Knight hit him with everything he's got. There was this bit where there's a speedballs better chant. He was trying to beat up Kenny Omega whilst covering his ears, which popped me a little bit.
I showed something here.
There was some amazing escapes from the One-Winged Angel as well from Kevin Knight, because we've seen a lot of them, obviously.
Yeah. They did the Okada Wrestle Kingdom 11, I think it was, escape.
Is it the front flip?
Yeah. It wasn't quite as good. I remember I rewinded that. How they done that? How they done that? It's like a pop of Kenny's shoulder, but you only notice like the 6th time you watch it. Unbelievable. I wish everyone can go back and watch that match. Everyone should at the same time and think, that can't be beaten. Everything's a little bit of a diet version of that. Let's stop doing that at all times on pay-per-view and stop building matches that can maybe even feel like that one day.
Kenny was just like, there he is. You're not beating this one on this night. Absolutely not. Although I will say Kevin Knight, like, they told a great story as well of like Kenny's in his element, but Kevin Knight is a freak athlete. Like, he just pulled off like Hurricane Ranas and stuff out of nowhere. It was astonishing what he was able to do in there. They fought. There's a bit where they fought to the outside, and Kenny rearranged the table to say like, "Sorry about knocking that." And then later on, was there a Snapdragon on the table? I think he hit on Kevin Knight.
That was all the slip and slide off.
His knees in here. Well, Kevin Knight's not getting up from that, so there's no point even having the rest of this match. But he yelled at him to fight back, and he did. There's a high stack power bomb, V-trigger for a near fall. Knight fought off an avalanche snapdragon, probably for the best of that. Already seen someone land on the red, thanks. And there was a coast-to-coast to the shoulder after Omega got trapped in the Tree of Woe. Following that, I liked the bit with the 2 world titles as well. So Knight brings one in. Oh, I'm going to hit him with it. I think it's Bryce, isn't it, Remsburg, who's like, oh, what are you doing? Chucks that belt, but he hid the other one in the ring skirt. He missed the title shot, but eventually hit a Uranagi onto it. UFO splash. Omega gets the knees up. This is when Knight flips out the one-winged angel. Tried to hit a leaping clothesline. Hit with a V-trigger in midair. Omega, one-winged angel, 1, 2, 3. Let's do that, and then we'll do post.
I was trying to think. There was something missing about this otherwise stellar main event. I was like, what is it? What was it? What was it? What was it? It needed one. Oh, my God. How was that not the finish? Kevin Knight near fall. It needed that to tell the 2 stories they were trying to tell at the same time. So they were trying to tell the story of Kevin Knight belongs in this spot, and he's taken Kenny Omega to his limit. The problem is that this new version of Kenny Omega, he's said on television, it's the best version ever. It's a work. This guy has no limit. You could take other wrestlers to the limit on any other night. You could take any other wrestler, not this version of Kenny Omega. That's the 2 stories they were telling. Kevin Knight, I thought he did as well as possible in a really, really set up to fail spot. And I don't think the lack of drama was as a result of this individual performance, because I think it was as good as it could possibly be in terms of where he's at. They are basically saying, go on then, try and get people to believe you, Kevin Knight, considering where you've been and where you are realistically on the pecking order. Convince everyone in this building that you're going to beat the guy who is wrestling Will Ospreay at All in London when we've seen the match graphic on a show that is selling modestly and better than it has been. We're going to change it to Kevin Knight versus Will Ospreay, even though the tickets are quite slow to sell. Go on, go and do it. There was never, ever a chance. So it's the booking's fault. It's the matchmaking's fault.
Hamlet's idea of the tag match was far better.
Yeah, it's the booking's fault. It is not Kevin Knight's individual performance, because I don't think there's a wrestler alive who could have truly convinced that crowd that they were changing the All-In main event on the back of him winning the title. He was set up to fail. He was set up to fail by, let's call it, a noble failure, naive, wishful thinking. Isn't this nice for Kevin Knight, who we genuinely do want to be a star one day? I don't think he was set up to fail. That makes it sound like they've buried him or whatever. But he was also set up to fail.
Yes. It's a good experience to have a main event.
Yeah.
Main event in him, because he's going to be in there.
Could have done it on telly. Could have done it on telly and not done the pay-per-view whatsoever.
Yes.
And I will say, as a Kenny Omega mega fan, this is wonderful to watch. It's funny. There's been times with Kenny Omega since, coming back from diverticulitis where I thought we've been in a constant we're so back, it's so over cycle, the Kenny Omega fandom, where comes back, Gabe Kidd, all right, okay, well, he's come back to reclaim his throne. All right, well, he's done the Takeshita match at Revolution. An unbelievable performance, especially considering how different it was to the Gabe Kidd. And then this happens a lot with Kenny. Well, it's happened twice. He comes, or maybe 3 times. He comes back after a really lengthy, arduous layoff, looks the tits for 3 months, and then slows down. And then I thought, all right, okay, that's going to happen again, isn't it? And then he's, over the past year, he's looked a bit swollen and slow at times. Then he's had this unbelievable performance, and then he's looked quite slow. He's looked back for a few matches now. No, like speed, literally no signs of slowing down. If anything, he's getting faster, leaner, believing in himself more. It felt like, oh my God, this Kenny. And I know that was the story they told, and maybe he's such a great worker that he's moving the same as he has for a year, but because he's telling me he's back and he's doing in-ring storytelling like he's back and not selling the gut, where I just think he's back. Either way, it works for me. He looked the business. Bit too much monologuing for me, bit too much lines of dialogue, and they needed that one near fall that I don't think they were ever going to get. It was kind of an uphill battle.
Yeah, that's fair.
Everyone thinks that. Everyone, but elements of the action, Kenny Omega's individual performances, Kevin Knight's crowd work and improvisations. A lot to like about a match that was never going to succeed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was all about the post-match, really, because out comes the Death Riders, well, particularly Garcia, Yuta, Pac, and Claudio hit the ring to beat down Kenny Omega. Mox and Shafir slowly walk out there. The Young Bucks run out to make the save for their mate, but they get beaten down because of the numbers game, obviously. And Shafir brings a chair into the ring. Claudio puts it over Kenny's neck. They are going to Pillmanize him ahead of Wembley. But Will Ospreay sprints down and says, "Get out." Another, put this over on the news, another great performance from Wheeler Yuta here. Hey, whoa. Will, calm down, mate. And, you know, we've seen these sort of things play out before. I just love the idea of he's not embracing him to be like, come on, you're one of us, get on board. He's literally doing it just to distract him long enough so Claudio can break Kenny Omega's neck.
Yeah.
He hugs him and he just winks and gives the thumbs up to Claudio like, do it now, he's not looking now. And Ospreay spins around. Excellent from Wheeler Yuta here, I thought. I wanted to put that over. And Ospreay shoves Claudio down. He takes the chair off Omega's neck so no one can do it right now. He swings it at the Death Riders. They all bail. Moxley sort of slowly gets in there. Hey, sun's getting real low, buddy. Right? Just calm down, Ospreay. He slowly takes the chair. The fans are wanting to hit Moxley with it, obviously. He takes the chair away from Ospreay, throws it away. And he explains to him they need to make this. They need to take their shot. He needs to make the tough decision. And he pulls out the plastic bag that they obviously used on Bryan Danielson all those years ago.
2.
Montreal chants no. But he's taken the bag from Moxie.
No.
And he rips it apart. Turns around.
Took him a while.
Turns around, nails Moxley. He splits seemingly from the Death Riders. Everyone hits the ring. He gets rid of Yuta, Garcia, Claudio, all low-bridged. Marina Shafir gets chucked out. Jesus Christ, the hidden blade he hits on Pac and the sell from Pac. Unbelievable.
They're magic together.
Thought he'd killed him. And Mox holds back Claudio, who wants to slide in there with a chair. And he throws away the Death Rider's knee pad. I should have mentioned that when I said he's split from them. And he picks up Omega, surrounded by the remains of a plastic bag. Omega sort of realizes what's happened in all this. Ospreay hands the AEW World title to him. They shake hands. Me and you at Wembley, they say, effectively. And they stand on the turnbuckles to close out this show. And we just see Will, smiling, happy now again, stand up on the turnbuckle as we go off the air. When suddenly, who's that underneath him? It's Kenny Omega, who picks him up, nails him with the one-winged angel, alludes to the plastic bag, and considering what Will's been up to in recent weeks and months, and then gets the Young Bucks to come in and awkwardly, I did like their faces on this. He's like, "Yay, let's do the pose, guys." And it's like, you just attacked your mate who you're facing at Wembley. So I can't believe anyone saw this as a heel turn for Kenny Omega.
Yeah, it's not.
It's look what you were going to do, look what you've been doing, and it's me and you now for the title.
Yeah.
I want to take every chance that I can get, just as you would.
They're going to do the earnest version of this in the post-match at Wembley. The idea is Kenny Omega, I'm pretty sure, is trying to tell Will Ospreay, look, you could do this before me. Like, we're mates. Isn't it nice? I care more about this than you. Like, I'm back. It's kind of your fault. You told me to believe in myself. You created this monster. I don't want to let go of this.
And
I'm not going to hand it over. They're basically telling the audience they're going to kill each other in London.
And I hit you with the one move that no one kicks out of.
Yeah. Like, I'm going to kill you to keep a hold of this. Kenny, your fault. You told me to believe in myself. I sure do now. They're just basically telling you they're going to have an incredibly violent spectacle of a match at Wembley. This is how they're selling it. They've kind of told the story to support the promise of what they're going to give you at Wembley. That's it. It's not a full-blown heel turn. He'll probably act a cock in the build, but it's Kenny. It's not a full-blown turn. I am fascinated by the fallout. Like, does Mox try and tempt Ospreay back.
Oh, yeah, Dynamite's essential viewing this week.
It is. That's the one thing that's accomplished. Loved it. Loved it. Loved the idea of Kenny being the arsehole again. He was great at it. It'll have to be different. He can't go as meta as he did by saying, yeah, well, Ospreay's crap. He just does these cynical 5-star matches because Dave's an old man who can't tell the difference anymore. All that meta build stuff ahead of the first New Japan match was fantastic. They can't do that on TV. TV-friendly version of Kenny Omega being the arsehole to Will Ospreay will be great.
Final comments here. Matt Rain says Pac had to be devastated after that hidden blade. He's probably curious about the Barkler situation as well.
Why would he care about that?
This is about me. Think about Pac, King.
But Pac doesn't support Liverpool, though, Matt, so...
Is that true, Barkler to Liverpool?
Well, there's a bit of a domino effect. You don't like going the shoes on the other foot now, don't you? Because last season was the striker domino effect.
Yeah.
Now there's a left-winger domino effect. Because Diamande going to Real Madrid, that could have a domino effect on Vinicius Jr., who might go to Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal, meanwhile, being credited with an interest in Barcola, who wants Liverpool, and Liverpool want Barcola. PSG are playing hardball, but they were like, well, if we're going to get Diamande, who they were after, but now he's going to Real Madrid, it's like, well, Barcola, you can leave because we ain't got no room for you anymore. Room just opened for Barcola because Diamande is going to Real Madrid, so they might want to keep Barcola after all.
I didn't know this.
Food chain. Matt Reigns.
Shand says, I think a 6 week...
Sorry, it's nothing personal, buddy. It's nothing personal, but I've been waiting a long year for Liverpool to get transfer food chained, okay? And I hope it happens.
I think
That'll teach you to unsettle a player through the media into going on strike and ruining our entire club.
I think a 6 week break between pay-per-views will be a healthy gap for AEW, given the length of their usual pay-per-view, says Chand.
Spot on.
Yeah, I think it's perfect distance away, and who knows what else could be added to that all-in weekend going forward. I meant to ask you a question earlier from the wonderful Steve Nikolopoulos, and I'll finish on that one. Sorry we've gone long on this one, but I felt like there was a lot to discuss.
Don't
2 hours.
apologise. See how long they went.
Granted.
We are hypocrites, though.
No, I think we covered everything. I think if anything, we could have done more on Mick Foley barking like a dog.
Yeah.
Steve says, "G'day, handsome gents. I'd also like to express my fondness for that particular beast Mortos. Big question. Oh, also happy for Maya. 16 minutes on pay-per-view. Very happy for Maya World, as we said. Big question. Where does Jericho go from here? Is he challenging Big Kyle?" Kevin Knight, he's very popular at the moment. So I'm just like, title / heel who's very popular at the moment. Because my immediate thought was Andrade. But
Babyface. Kevin Knight could create the movement for Jericho. Jericho would almost certainly think of himself as still to this day as the scalp you kind of have to take if you're going to really progress to the main event in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
I can get that Kevin Knight over. That's almost certainly something he would think.
MJF's not
But
got a
then-
match at Wembley.
I can't imagine either of them are looking at each other as if to say, we want this. You know, I just feel like they're happy to just pass by in the night.
Hangman Page hasn't got an opponent at Wembley.
He's going to do something with Swerve, I expect.
Yes, we were meant to be having more of a clearer situation. I was expecting some involvement of Hangman or Swerve or something in this.
Darby's
pay-per-view.
probably going to have a rematch with Kevin Knight stepped up. They've been building
Yes,
that for a
that'll
while.
be the match. You're right.
We need to think about the Death Trap match as well. Let me ponder it.
Mm.
And I'll come back to you.
Dynamite preview, yeah.
It's an excellent question.
Also,
One I don't really want to ask.
And also a game. Potentially and all that.
The same game.
Along with which woman will Mick Foley bark at this week? Anyway, let us know your thoughts on
I went
it.
to see Mick Foley do stand-up at the City Hall years and years ago.
Oh, yeah.
2011. Kept talking about his wife's big tits.
Let us know your thoughts on AEW Redemption in the chat. or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch there, you can follow all three of us. You can follow Michael Sidgwick at...
Wow. Wood. M. Sidgwick.
Follow our producer Adam Nicholas at...
Yep, that's the stuff. It's Adam Nicholas.
And you can follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. Make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling wherever you get your podcasts from. For daily wrestling podcasts, the Raw preview and SmackDown review is available right now. But for now, this has been the Redemption Review. My thanks to Michael Sidgwick, Adam Nicholas. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.